Brazil has tried everything to become a major economic power, from coffee to commodities to manufacturing. But something always seems to go wrong. Why does the Brazilian economy experience such wild swings? In this video, we'll take a look at the different phases of Brazil's economy, from its colonial period to the present day. We'll also explore the factors that have made Brazil's economy so unpredictable, and consider how the country could grow in the years to come. Let's get started. Brazil's economy has had a wild ride. From its humble beginnings as a colony that exported sugar, to its current status as one of the world's leading emerging markets, Brazil's economy has experienced periods of great growth and prosperity, as well as times of crisis and stagnation. In the early days, Brazil's economy was based on agriculture. But now, as the country grew, it began to industrialize and diversify its economy. By the 20th century, Brazil was one of the world's fastest-growing economies thanks to its large domestic market, abundant natural resources, and skilled workforce. But Brazil's economic growth hasn't been without its challenges. Did you know that in 1980, Brazil's per capita income was double that of South Korea? But today, it's half. That's a pretty big difference. In the 1980s, the country experienced a period of hyperinflation and economic crisis. It took several years for Brazil to recover, but by the 2000s, the economy was once again booming. South Korea, on the other hand, has been able to avoid the middle-income trap. It has done this by investing heavily in human capital and technology, by reducing inequality, and by maintaining a stable macroeconomic environment. As a result, South Korea has been able to achieve high rates of economic growth and become a high-income country. The 2010s were a more difficult decade for Brazil. The global financial crisis of 2008 had a negative impact on the Brazilian economy, and the country was also hit by a commodity slump and a number of political scandals. As a result, Brazil's economy experienced a period of slow growth and high unemployment. In recent years, Brazil has experienced a number of economic challenges. The worst of these was the 2014-2016 recession, which saw GDP fall by 8% and unemployment reach 12%. This was the worst recession Brazil had ever experienced, and its effects are still being felt today. Millions of Brazilians lost their income and social benefits during the recession, and many are still struggling to make ends meet. Looking back through time, we can spot a pattern that's repeated itself in Brazil's history. Think of it as a series of ups and downs, like a roller coaster ride. Imagine the years from 1962 to 1967, then the 80s and early 90s, followed by the early 2010s and the recent pandemic crunch in 2020. Each of these rough patches came right after a period of exciting growth. What's interesting is that, like the guitar strings that make up a tune, there appear to be common threads running across all these events. These boom and bust cycles are red flags for deeper problems that have continued since the 1960s. These problems aren't just a headache during pleasant moments, they're more like a dark cloud that covers up the sun. Before we continue unraveling more about the economy of Brazil, here's a quick reminder. Do make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay with us until the end of this video. Brazil's economy has slowly but surely been bouncing back in recent years, like a resilient phoenix rising from the ashes. In 2022, the economy spread its wings and grew by about 2.8%, thanks to people spending, businesses investing, and products finding new homes in other countries. It's like the engine of progress was in full swing. Let's look into the future now. A possible slowness in growth is something to brace for. Following several years of economic instability, Brazil's economy is seeing moderate growth as of 2023. The International Monetary Fund forecasts that GDP growth will be about 1% in 2023 and maybe 1.9% in 2024. Not exactly a turbo boost, right? Why? It's complicated. Think of Brazil like a puzzle with certain pieces missing. With the world economy slowing down, fewer individuals may be interested in Brazil's offerings. That economic downturn of 2014-2016 also comes to mind. That experience certainly left its mark. It's kind of like when you throw a stone into the sea and it takes a while for the waves to settle down. However, that's not all. There are a few obstacles in Brazil's path. Think about how the high prices have left a mark in your savings, how the atmosphere in politics is insecure, and how the shadow of corruption hangs over the present scenario. These factors could slow growth. These barriers include high taxes. Brazil has a complex and often opaque tax system that even Sherlock Holmes would struggle to figure out. Businesses may find it harder to remain competitive in the global market as a result of rising expenses. For instance, in Brazil, the VAT rate varies depending on the type of product or service. It can be as high as 25%. It's like shopping for discounts, but in reverse. Inflation. Brazil's been throwing an inflation party for years. It's like prices just can't sit still. This can make it difficult for businesses to plan for the future and invest in new products. For example, in 2022, it hit a 5-year high of 10.7%. Political instability. The politics of Brazil are like an unpredictable melodrama. There are more presidents than you can flip pancakes with. Reasons for this involve government instability, corruption, and civil upheaval. In this case, Brazil went through a period of political instability after President Dilma Rousseff was brought down and removed from office in 2016. Currency volatility. The Brazilian real is like the friend who fluctuates their mind, making it difficult for businesses to predict its future value and make long-term investments. Reasons for this are the country's large debt loads, its reliance on commodities exports, and its history of political instability. In 2020, for this reason, the US dollar gained nearly 30% in value against the Brazilian real. Infrastructure problems. Roads, railways, and airports in Brazil are a disaster. The whole country is stopped in traffic and nobody has a map to discover the detour. This makes transporting goods and services expensive and challenging, which hurts productivity and makes it harder for firms to compete globally. Brazil's road network is one of the world's most congested, causing delays and boosting the cost of transportation. Despite its challenges, Brazil has a number of strengths that could help it overcome them and achieve sustained economic growth thanks to its expansive domestic market, abundant natural resources, skilled workforce, strategic geographic location, diverse agricultural sector, renewable energy potential, tourism attraction, cultural diversity, burgeoning technology landscape, and investment opportunities. So how can Brazil turn its potential into reality? One of Brazil's biggest strengths is its population. With over 210 million people, Brazil has the largest consumer market in South America. That's a lot of potential customers for businesses. Another strength is the country's rich natural resources that can be used to drive domestic industries and exports. They have a lot of valuable minerals, including iron ore. They have oil and soybeans. These resources can be used to create jobs and boost the economy. It's like the universe handed it a bunch of cheat codes for economic growth. Did you know that Brazil boasts an incredibly talented and highly skilled workforce? The country's educational system is good, and there are a lot of talented people who are eager to work. This can be a big draw for foreign investors and boost the economy. Because of its convenient position, Brazil serves as a portal to markets all over the world. Located between the Atlantic and the Amazon, this South American nation is a unique crossroads. As a result, Brazil may now tap into a market with upwards of 400 million people. Brazil has one of the world's largest and most varied agricultural economies. Soybeans, corn, coffee, and sugarcane are just a few of the many agricultural goods that are manufactured in the country. Besides providing raw resources for other sectors, this makes Brazil a major food exporter. This is a fantastic place to generate renewable energy because it has plentiful sunlight and wind. Hydroelectricity production is already high, and the country is also putting money into solar and wind energy. Brazil is now in a prime position to meet the increasing need for renewable energy, making it a global leader in this field. The people of Brazil are kind, and the country itself is stunning. There are many natural wonders to see in this nation, including the Amazon jungle, the Pantanal wetlands, and the spectacular Iguazu Falls. Its population of over 200 million is just as varied, speaking over 200 tongues amongst them. This not only makes Brazil an exciting place to do business, but it also attracts a lot of tourists. There's a thriving technological ecosystem in Brazil. Nubank and PagSeguro are just two of the many thriving internet companies headquartered in the country. There's a lot of R&D going on there, and big international tech companies are starting to set up shop there. Because of this, Brazil is an excellent location for a tech startup or expanding company. It's a good idea to put money into Brazil. As a member of the G20, its economy is sizable and expanding. It is a gateway to the South American market and offers a labor force that is cheap. That's why Brazil's manufacturing, agricultural, and technological sectors are all great places to invest. Did you know that football is so popular in Brazil that it's actually considered a part of the national identity? In fact, the Brazilian national team has won more World Cups than any other country. So it's no surprise that football has a big impact on the Brazilian economy. It generates billions of dollars in revenue each year and creates jobs in a number of sectors. Football is especially important in Brazil's poorer regions, where it provides opportunities for young people. There you have a bit about Brazil's economy. So will Brazil ever achieve sustained economic growth? The answer is up to the Brazilians. If they can overcome the challenges they face, there's no reason why they cannot become a major economic power. But if they do not, they risk being left behind in the global economy. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more interesting upcoming videos.